Hey, what's up? It's Andy. Welcome to Twin Flame Game Series. And today we're going to talk about a few of the darker sides of inner union that you don't really hear about, or I wasn't expecting, I guess. I don't know what I was expecting, really, but not that. Um, so, okay, so you're coming into inner union, right? And you've seen your twin going through their ego death, and now, literally every power is in. So you're able to discern, like, if you're talking to, your past loved ones, if you're talking to your spirit guides, if you're having a lucid dream, if you are having a download, a crown chakra download. I mean, you are in tune with the universe. You're feeling your twin, and you're seeing literally things play out into your reality, sometimes instantly. You're seeing like freaking miracles. And I mean, just your life is amazing, right? It's amazing, getting amazing. And you're feeling like there's nothing left for me to balance, you know? And you're getting the signs from your spirit guides everywhere, that your twin is preparing to come back. And so at this point, your twin has reached out, obviously, multiple times. So some stuff going on in their lives. And the universe, even if you're not talking to them, so even your twin somehow will let you know what's going on. It's really weird. Like, I wasn't even talking to my twin at all. I had told him to fuck off and blah, blah. And we were not talking at all. And then all of a sudden, he sent me a video and just said, "Save this for me." And it was a video of him and his wife fighting, and she was being crazy and whatever. So, and so, you know, it sends you into like a whoa, because I wasn't expecting it. It showed me that things were falling apart over there. And then it also had me later, I purged a part of my abusive relationship. So um, it helped. It just, they're showing you stuff. They don't even know it. And so you're you're seeing this real stuff. And so they're kind of telling you some stuff that's happening. You see they're showing you, and so this is where, whoa, you're starting to fall off balance, right? But you catch back on, right? And so then you're noticing, you're letting them sometimes come in, you're sometimes blocking them, sometimes not, but you're still cool. Like, there's nothing that's messing you up, right? And so you're getting all the signs that they're coming back now. And you're feeling them. And so because they are trying to leave their situation and they want to come back, they're thinking of all their things. And so, like, they're thinking so it'll be like, he's thinking about, doesn't want to leave his son, and so he's thinking about how he can get his son to leave with him, type thing. And so you wake up knowing all of that, and then you start seeing the universe will start throwing child stuff. Oh, you're gonna have a new family. Oh, parenthood. And you're like, oh fuck, I never considered the kid, and you're like, wow. And so the universe is, they don't want you. So okay, so, and you're like, okay, well, I'll accept it anyway. And then you accept that, right? Boom. Okay. And then boom, that's over. And then you're like, oh, that didn't happen. That's weird. Because what happens is, everything that is going on and that your spirit guides are telling you is happening. And so when they're giving you something, you believe it's happening because you're so in tune, and you're like, well, my spirit guides literally, why would I get that? I didn't. And then you start thinking, did I just come up with that? Oh, great. Now I'm coming up with timelines, and I have now I have an outcome. I'm believing that there's an outcome. And so you start to be like, oh shit. You start to fall off balance. And so then, something else will, all of a sudden, I started seeing pregnancy stuff, right? Pregnancy stuff everywhere. And you'll get weird little, like, timeline drop ins, and you're like, whoa, what? And then all of a sudden I'm like, wow, shit, maybe she's pregnant, and I'm like, wow, it's gonna be even harder for him to leave, I'm like, woo, and you're not really thinking that the timeline that they're testing you with tons of outcomes, and because some of the stuff is actually happening and they're letting you know, and so that they're about to come back, so there's about to be a huge tower moment. And so, and you already know they're in an abusive situation, whatever the situation is. But and so you're getting these different timelines, and I'm like, and then you suddenly be okay with that, and you're like, but you're not freaking out. You're just okay. Well, if she is, it is what it is. Like you start to be okay with stuff, and then it like it'll carry on, and then all of a sudden, you'll get like I even got so like stuff that you get scared if you see it because you shit's playing out, right? And so I even got like a crazy drop in that, all of a sudden, like that. I mean, trigger warning, I guess, for people that are soft. That he had got shot. She had shot him, and so I had to get this whole thing in my head of, well, I would still have a connection with my twin, even if he was on the other side. Like it, it was. I mean, they're gnarly. They're gnarly, and I would just be like, bro, what are you doing to yourself? Like, are you falling off right now? Like, because I would be like, where are these coming from? Like, I'm not thinking of these, and I'm not. No one really was telling me this stuff, so I wasn't assuming that this was going to happen while I'm in a reunion, But the whole time I'm still being cool, you're like this a little bit because you're nervous and you don't want them to be hurt, or you don't want them to be. You're sad, but you also know that that is their tower moment, and whatever has to happen, and so you're okay with it. Like, and then all of a sudden I started getting, a lot of cop cars, and I already know what's going on over there, and so I'm like, and you'll get these drop-ins of like a full memory, like, of and then you'll get these beautiful ones of like, you know um like you'll just be there doing whatever, and you'll get like a full download of like a possible timeline of like being at the beach, and these great things, and you're like, wow, that is good, that'd be awesome if that happens. But here's the thing: as those are happening, you're staying balanced, but the key is to say, that could be their tower moment that sends them, the tower moment without reaching out. The, even so, they're giving you all of these things because the last phase for the divine feminine is to let them fall, and they're going to be reaching out. You're also going to be feeling them. um you know they may ask for help. There's, you have to say no, and this is where the divine feminines feel like, okay, well, they've reached out a bunch of times. Maybe if I finally reach out back, then they'll break. And it's like, no, no, no softening the blow at all. You are in receiving energy only, but you're going to continue to get these different outcomes, and you can't hold on to any of them, and some of them are rough, and you're just like, whoa, but you just have to be okay with whatever outcome, and the, whatever thing. And so that's what I started to realize is like, oh, these are all just different possibilities, and because they're not going to tell you exactly how it's going to go. They start to tell you, because I'd always be like, well, they kind of told me when he's coming back, like it's not that big of a deal. But no, they tell you, they're preparing you, for when they're coming back, but they don't give you exactly how it's going to go down. And so you are just getting ridiculous things, and you're realizing like, oh, I'm not doing this myself, and you just got to see them. If they hurt you, sit with them, look at it, and then let it pass. Just, but resist the urge, even if one of those storylines that you're getting is actually playing out because you're seeing it, or your twin saying, or somebody has told you. You've got to stay in receiving energy only, or you will put a delay on your dude's ego death. They have to go through it. They have to go through it. They have to feel what you felt in the beginning, and it's harder for them because all of their tower moments are happening in the 3D, and all of ours was happening here. So they just go through a different type, but it's not any easier, you guys. And so, you know, you and plus when you start to get into inner union, there's there's a time you're in inner union for a long time before you're actually in full inner union, because there's okay, and I'm going to explain it when it comes to like, so when you start to come into inner union, you start to lose your friends and stuff because they're stuck in the 3D. And so when you first come into inner union, you're so happy, right? That you found this new life, that you believe that you can bring everybody else up with you. And so you just think, well, you start to want to talk to everybody about it, and you don't understand that they don't want to receive it. And so you're just like, but if I just explain it enough, they'll understand. And then you start to hang out more and more, and then you realize that you're wasting your time, and that you with somebody that you'll only start to talk about it if somebody's trying to receive it, which was a huge outlet for me with this channel, is because everybody watching this wants to receive it. They're seeking it. And so you start to see that, and you really just start to grieve your friends and your family and your life situations and your job and everything. And it's lonely because you're sad that you don't want to hang out with anybody anymore, but you also have boundaries. And so you're just kind of like, and you just have to, you get rid of the guilt, but you still, even like my own sister and her kids, and sometimes I crave solitude, and they don't understand. And so it's really hard to be into full inner union, because you just want a whole different life that nobody's used to you having, especially if you were like me. I mean, shit. I wasn't just asleep. I was like fucking comatose, You know what I'm saying? Like this, nobody understands. And so you go through this weird grieving. Like I still do, because I'm just like, cause you want to, like, you just want to, for them to understand, and you can only do it so much. And then once you get in full inner union, you realize that it's not worth it, and you're no longer willing to try to bring people along with you. You can bring people up with you if they're seeking it, but if they're so in their ego, you realize that it's not worth your time, and it gets really sad. So you know not you're okay, but there's a lot of grieving, and things, stuff that doesn't make your everywhere I go, somebody asks me, are you Andy B Fit, or are you, or can I get it, I mean, everywhere I go, and so, and how do you say, like, oh no, I no longer identify with labels, and it's like people will be like, what? And you're just kind of like, well, yeah, but it's just that excitement, and you're almost grossed out by it, and you're just like, that's all 3D stuff. I mean, your whole life changes when you're in full inner union. Like when you're getting into inner union, you're excited to show the world that but because you want everybody to experience this. But then when you get in full inner union, you realize that no, that's not how it works, and everybody's energy is bad. And and in the beginning, and also in the beginning of inner union, you're kind of a spiritual snob too, because you're kind of like, how could they not get it? Like, that's such a limiting belief, like, because you understand everything, so you're also trying to let people understand it, and they don't. And then so now you don't care. You don't even want to hear their limiting beliefs. That's when you're in true inner union. But it's still sad, because I mean, you have literally everything you've ever known is gone. Even if it was good for you, like that you enjoyed it, it's still gone. I mean, even TV, movies, my everything I did doesn't exist to me anymore. So you grieve it still, even though you're happy and you want this life. It's just there's a many years of things that people don't understand that you don't want anymore. And so that's probably part of why you get the fuck away from everybody, because the 3D just doesn't work when you're in full inner union, and you'll realize that, y'all. But anyways, yeah, so buckle up when you get into inner union. You think you're you think you're smooth sailing in, but nah, you're not.